What's up, guys? Ben Pollack here, and I got some pretty exciting news. I'm coming out with a new free program, totally free, designed for off-season, primarily strength gains, but also size gains. And you can download the program now at phdeadlift.com. There's a link in the description below. But I do want to take a couple minutes to describe how to use the program most effectively, because I know all this is written down in the instructions in the program itself, but I know some people prefer to have kind of longer verbal explanations, and so that's all the point of this video is about. If you're the type of guy who likes to read, don't even have to watch. Just hit the download link, you're good to go. So, here's how the program works. It's broken up into 4 training days, okay? You have 3 full body days where you're training both upper and lower body, and then 1 upper body only day. And that's because I find that for the vast majority of people, it's much easier to recover from upper body training. Now, this high frequency is great when you're trying to build both strength and size. The problem is you have to be very, very careful with your recovery. If you've read Unfuck Your Program, you know that adding frequency can be one of the most difficult variables to adjust at first, and you have to give your body a little time for that. Fortunately, this is an off-season program, right? So we're not using super high percentages of our 1 rep max. Instead, we're using higher reps. And I have some strategies that you'll see when you download the program that will allow you to almost auto-regulate, in a sense. So on days when you're not feeling so great, you don't have to push quite as hard. Now, I want to break it down and go day by day and kind of discuss how you're going to run this program. First, we're going to look at the big picture. The program itself only has 3 weeks listed. What you do is you go through week 1, week 2, week 3. Then you go back to week 1, you add weight to all your main exercises, and you change up your accessory exercises. And then you go week 1, week 2, week 3, and then you just repeat that for as long as you like. And in my experience, you can run this program easy for 4, 5, even 6 months just doing that and make really, really steady gains because of the way that it's set up. So I really think it's valuable in that regard. Now, on day 1, you're focused on your competition squat. That's going to be the big one. There's also some bench accessory work in there, and there's some upper body accessory work as well, but the focus is on the squat. This is going to be kind of a theme that you'll see. So in day 2, you have 2 accessory movements. You have an accessory for the bench and an accessory for the squat. But then in day 3, we return to a deadlift focus, right? So you're focused on a competition lift, and then you have some upper body accessory. And then in day 4, you have competition bench, and that's your only focus. And again, upper body accessory. So why is the lower body accessory so low? There is a little bit in there, but it's pretty low. That's because, remember, our frequency is very high. You're going to be squatting, front squatting, and deadlifting hard and heavy every week. That's very difficult to recover from, but if you're doing it right, with good form, trust me, your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, they will be on point with regard to both size and strength. Now, calves, if you want big calves, you're going to have to train your calves. You can throw calves in. You can do calves every fucking day for all I care. It's not going to affect your recovery. It's just boring and unnecessary. But separate topic. Okay, so you have your basic template, right? On each day, each progressive week, you have a waved rep scheme. I like waved rep schemes for several reasons. If you've read Think Strong, you know why those are, but I find these to be very successful. Now, the cool thing about this program is you're not only waving your rep schemes, you're also waving your intensities. And that's auto-regulated through the use of AMREPs. If you don't know what an AMREP is, it stands for as many reps as possible. I highly, highly, highly recommend you don't actually do as many reps as you possibly can. Keep a rep or 2 in the tank every time you have an AMREP. That will go a long way in making sure that you can maintain this program over the long term. That's really all there is to it for the main lifts. It's really straightforward, and yet it's really, really effective. The accessory lifts. You have choices for accessory lifts. Every 3 weeks, you pick an accessory for each slot. You stick with it for those 3 weeks. You cannot change until the next 3 weeks when you have to change. In week 1, you're performing 100 reps. 100, okay? You can do that in as many sets as you take, but you're trying to go as fast as possible. I don't even count my sets. So what I do is I take a weight that I can do for about 20 or 30 reps. I crank it out, not all the way to failure, but pretty close. I rest a couple breaths, maybe 5 to 8 breaths. I do another set, and I just keep going and going and going until I get to 100. It's hard as hell, but it works really fucking well because the intensity is high, but the volume and intensity are high. I'm sorry, volume is high, effort is high, intensity is low, and so it works really, really well at developing muscle, and that muscle will then help your strength as well. Now, in week 2, you're only doing 50 total reps, so you up the weight, obviously, and then week 3, you're doing 25 total reps, okay, so up the weight again. That also, again, there's auto-regulation built in there, right? Because if you're really struggling one day, you're going to take longer. You're just naturally going to take longer to complete the set, complete all your reps. And that's totally fine. But by using these type of rep schemes, you're making sure that you get all your work in regardless of how you feel. So I really think it's a clever way to go about assistance exercises, and I really think it's useful as well. Now, the one last big question I get asked really often is exercise substitutions. Yes, you may substitute exercises. I do not recommend it, and for that reason, I'm not going to give specifics. If you need to substitute exercises because you don't have equipment, you don't like those exercises, you don't feel they work for you, they hurt, whatever, go ahead and do it. Make sure that you're trying to choose a movement that mimics the movement listed somehow, right? So if it's an upper body row, you're doing another upper body row. You're not doing dips. If it's a squat, you're doing some squat variation. You're not doing deadlifts, okay? But that's at your discretion, okay? I can't help you out with that. I do help my one-on-one athletes out with that, but it's pretty involved choosing the right movements, and I think that the ones that I have chosen will work really well for a lot of people. I hope you enjoy this program. I hope it's really helpful for you. I think it's a hell of a lot of fun. I think it's very, very useful. And I look forward to hearing your feedback from it. So head over to phdeadlift.com, download it, check it out, start getting in the gym, thinking strong, and training hard.